Good afternoon po good morning po sa ating lahat. Um, Nais ko lang pong munang malaman kung naririnig po ng maayos ang audio. Maaari po bang mag-thumbs up o kaya mag-respond sa chat? Okay. So pasimula po, we would like to welcome our fellow Eagle Scouts, Rover Scouts, Scouters, and Senior Scout leaders from the following councils. Starting from Angeles City up to Zamboanga del Sur, Pagadian City. And we also have registrants from BSG India and also from Baharat Scouts and Guides. Welcome po ulit dito sa Agila Pilipinas. We would like to send our gratitude to our anonymous sponsors and contributors. And maraming salamat po for allowing us again to provide this free webinar to our Scouters and fellow Eagle Scouts. We would also like to send our gratitude to the following Eagle Scout group from Aguilang Iliganon Eagle Scout Association of Angeles City, Association of Cebuano Eagle Scouts, BSP Quezon City Eagle Scout Association, and chapters from our national organizations, the Eagle Scout Organization of the Philippines and the National Eagle Scout Association of the Philippines. And especially to the Boy Scout of the Philippines, our national scouting organization, and to the local councils, and the staffs, scouters, and of course, our dear officials. Maraming salamat po sa suporta. So what is Agila Pilipinas? It started in 2009 but went online by March 2012. It's an online journal for Eagle Scouts where Eagle Scouts can share their ideas, activities, and advocacies to help inspire young Scouts and remind fellow Eagle Scouts of living by the Scout oath and law. Agila Pilipinas promotes the honor and legacy of being Eagle Scouts of the Boy Scouts of the Philippines. Kindly follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and also on Instagram. For tonight, our talk will focus on the challenge of being morally straight during this pandemic. It's an insight on how to face the dilemma continuously encountered by Scout leaders and Eagle Scouts in handling young Scouts. The insight are from the professional experience, both abroad and locally, being a church and civic leader, and being an active Scout leader. To formally introduce to you our speaker, he is the Chief Operating Officer, Executive Vice President of Integrated Manufacturing Services Providers Incorporated. He is a graduate of Master of Management, graduate of Master of Business Administration, graduate diploma in Organizational Development, graduate of Bachelor of Science in Pharmacy, a licensed pharmacist also, member of the International Society for Pharmaceutical Engineering, Curia Sancti Rosari Incorporated, Parish Pastoral Council for Responsible Voting, Parish Pastoral Council for Responsible Politics, Archdiocese Council of the Leyte, Pampanga, and the National Youth Parliament Alumni Association, and he is a member of the national organization Eagle Scouts Organization of the Philippines, or ESO. Everyone, fellow Scouts and Scouters and Eagle Scouts, please welcome our speaker, Sir James N. Pasamonte. Sir James, you have the share screen now.
Okay. Before I share my screen, I think maraming naka-off ang camera. So, yung mga naka-on, pwede bang mag-wave ang mga tiga Mindanao? Maraming naka-off. Baka sila'y naka-off. How about people from Visayas? From Metro Manila? And then from the rest of Luzon? Okay, nice. Nice seeing everybody. I'll share my screen. Can you hear me clearly? Okay, good. Share ko ang screen ko. Okay. I think that was last week of July or first week of August when Sir AA asked me to talk about this topic. No? First thing that went into my mind, the challenge of being morally straight during this pandemic. I think you will all agree, not even during kahit walang pandemic, it's also a challenge, di ba? Challenging ito because it's all about morals, the way we live, the way we behave. No? So it's really a challenge. So since it's about morally straight, and part of our scout law is about duty to God, I think it's but proper to start with the prayer. No? So it's sung by Dulce together with the Ateneo Chamber of Commerce. It's a known song, a prayer for the Jesuits and some of the Catholics as well. So let's put ourselves in the presence of the Lord for the opening prayer. Do you hear the sound?
Where there is fear, I cannot lay. Where there is pain, I can heal. Where there are wounds, I can bind. And hunger, I can fill. That I may be your heart Where there is hate, I can confront. Where there are yokes, I can release. Where there are captives, I can free. And anger, I cannot release. Lord, grant me strength. Grant me compassion, that I may be your heart today. When comes the day I rest to see your Yet there are hearts I cannot Lord, give me hope that I may be your heart
Amen. Okay. I like that song. Basically, this is where my talk will be all about the pandemic, the challenge of being morally upright. It will be a heart for somebody else. Pero alam nyo, sa tagal-tagal ng pandemic na to, hindi nyo ba namimiss mag-campfire? Hindi nyo ba namimiss yung outdoor activities? Di ba? So, can I ask AA to remove all the mute? Let's sing muna. Pwede ba? Pwede bang tanggalin muna lahat yung mute, Sir AA?
Yes, sir. I'll try to unmute everyone right now.
Okay. Simple lang naman yung kanta. Give me oil in my lamp. Keep it burning.
To all the
Imagine
participants,
niyo, kabubukas lang ng campfire. No? Yung, wag muna yung campfire is burning. Kasi wala tayong
Pero pwede niyo po siyang i-screenshot para meron po kayong reference.
Okay na?
Heart-related,
Yes, sir.
cancer-related,
They have the control.
Okay, so sabayan natin ng -1
biological, blood-related. Pwede niyo po i-screenshot for your reference.
Give me oil in my
Give me all my
Give me oil in my lamp. I pray. Give me oil in my lamp. Keep it burning. Keep it burning all day.
Very familiar sa ating
Hosanna, sing, Hosanna to the King of Kings. Sing, Hosanna, sing, Hosanna, sing, Hosanna to the King. Oil in my lamp, keep it burning. Give
keep
me
it
oil in
burning.
my lamp, I pray.
Me all
Give
for my
me oil
love.
in my
I
lamp, keep
pray,
it burning.
hallelujah.
Keep it burning to the break. Sing, Hosanna,
Oh,
sing, Hosanna, sing, Hosanna to the King of Kings. Sing, Hosanna, sing, Hosanna, sing, Hosanna to the King.
things related.
Ngayon,
I'm privileged to
Ayan po yung set.
okay,
Yay!
ready yun. Okay, naka-remind na ba tayo sa natin, campfire?
Apo.
Activities,
yeah.
we are all in the
Opo.
quarantine in one way or another. I think that will refresh us. During your registration, we have some expectations na linagay. I will show some of them or most of them, no? Sinabi dito, learn about more to becoming morally straight during this pandemic. Informative guide, understanding about morally straight, to be morally straight. Tapos meron ta rin dito, saying then, train and guide for me, for my future. So iniisip, paano magagamit in the future. Mindful of being morally straight as a scout. Knowledge and new learnings, coping strategies. Tapos, same din yung iba, techniques, pero hindi ko masasagot yata this part, no? Itong to learn more to fight pandemic. Yung hirap ito. No? And then, to learn strategies, Most of them are similar. I'll be sharing some real life scenarios, no? So on and so forth. So basically, most of the expectation are the same. Kaya on our learning module, our learning objectives for this talk, a brief review, what does it mean to be morally straight? Balikan natin mga pinag-aralan natin in the past. And then, ano ba yung challenges of being morally straight? And then how can I be morally straight? Simple tips, ideas, strategies. Walang rocket science dito. It's all about simple tips. Nabanggit din kanina ni AA, no? The sharing will be more on my professional life as well, both local and globally or abroad, no? I've been working overseas for the 7 to 8 years. I just came back in the Philippines last year, no? So I've been working with a multinational company before, and now I'm in a local company. And some perspective is also part of being a church lay leader and a civic leader as well. Hindi ako yung sa simbahan na paladasan, no? I always say this one. There are a lot of people praying, but sometimes prayer cannot be answered because of we lack hands and feet. Ayaw kumilos. Sabi ng Diyos, I want to answer the prayers, but si Brother Roder John Cuevas, I need you to your hands, but you don't allow your hands to be used. So I'm more on the social teachings of the church, no? And of course, as a scout leader. No, I purposely chose my old neckerchief. This is my neckerchief when I was still in high school. When I started my journey being an Eagle Scout, we called it Scout Citizen then. Buhay pa hanggang ngayon. So after how many years, ngayon ko lang siya sinuot ulit. So I think it's something symbolic about the old and the new. Let's start with some paradigm, no? Before we have buses, meron tayong mga buses with transport up to now, jeepneys, barko, train, MRT in Metro Manila, and plane. So easy to travel before the pandemic, right? Sometimes it's even cheaper to go for a plane rather than to go through a boat before the pandemic. And we're looking forward in the next pandemic. These are the changes. Eh, yung mga oldies, natatanda nyo ba bang uminom dito? Through this one, ice water. Kita nyo ba? No? And then, naging bottled water, improving. And then, mga oldies, tatanda nyo pa ba to? Film, 12 shots, 24 shots, 36 shots. But now, we have digital, and then through cell phone na rin. Walkman. Maybe, pag meron ka nito noon, big time ka na. And then Discman. Ngayon, through our phones, pwede kang makinig ng music and take some pictures. And then we have smartwatches now. Now, when I was with my previous company, we were also developing a contact lens that can detect glucose in tears, receives power and sends signals in our iris. That's what we're developing before. So technology changes over time. But the question is, how about our values? Does it really change? Yung bang tama noon, nagiging mali ba ngayon? Yung mali noon, nagiging tama ba ngayon? Because time changes, our value stays the same. So it brings me to the question of what does it really mean to be morally straight? We ask, isang guest natin, matagal na siyang patay, buhay natin siya ngayon, si Baden Powell. Okay, I looked for some literature last night, no? Sabi niya, noong 1908, Boy Scouts being originally founded on Christian values. It is the largest voluntary movement in the world, over 25 million na ngayon. Tapos, doon sa Outlook na publication, sinabi niya Scouting is no less than applied Christianity. I think let's not take that one literally as applied Christianity. It also applies for the values being applied by our brothers Muslims, no? Buddhist. Ganon din yon. Remember, Baden-Powell is a military officer of the British Army. Na-assign siya even for non-Christian places. Tapos, meron din siyang dito, no? It's about reverence to God. Sinabi dito, no? So, meron pang nakita. Sabi niya dito, the Scout shows true reverence in two principal ways. First, you pray to God, you love God, and you serve Him. Secondly, in your everyday actions, help other people because they are made by God to God's own likeness. You and all men are made by God to God's own likeness. You and all men are important in the sight of God because God made you. And then ito, it looks like a stampita. Sabi ko sa picture, sana binigyan na siyang neckerchief si Jesus Christ dito, no? So, dito sa handbook, it also mentions about duty to God, a scout admonished but faithful to God's commandments. You worship God regularly with your family, church, or synagogue. Try to follow the religious teachings that you have been taught and you are faithful to church duties. Okay. So it's all about speaking about God, and it reminds us of our first duty as scouts. Let's be more technical now. What is morality? The root word is ethical in Greek, ethos meaning character, moral in Latin, mos meaning custom. But basically, we're talking about what's right and wrong. No, I don't want to dwell about what Aristotle, Socrates, and Plato, and Thomas Aquinas mentioned. But basically, when we talk about morals, it's about right and wrong. But I want to go deeper. When I was in high school, I remembered this definition about social ethics, which I like very much. Sabi, social ethics is a part of theology. It searches for the norms of free human conduct in the light of revelation. When we say norms, we mean about practice. And when we talk about norms, we talk about two. We talk about the objective and subjective norm of morality. Objective and subjective. Kuminsan na pag nag-uusap tayo, are you being objective or are you being subjective? Pag sinasabi nating objective, we're always referring to the intellect. When we say subjective, we're referring to the will. Objective norm of morality always go to the will, intellect, and subjective is the will. Anong hinahanap ng intellect? It searches for the what is right. Intellect will always, I'm wrong in this one, it should be the truth. It should be the truth, no? I forgot to correct this one. And then, for the subjective, it's looking for what is good. So you're looking for what is the truth and what is the good. And you have to merge these two. And may na-encounter akong definition one time, tinanong, what is the meaning of love? Ang definition niya is, love is a combination, it's a unity between the intellect and the will. So you're looking for what is the truth, and you're looking for what is good. So pag nagmahal ka, hindi lang dapat yung maganda, magaling, what is just about your feeling, but dapat tama to, katotohanan to. So these are the norms of morality that we're talking about. But basically, we're talking about what is right and what is wrong. Ang gusto nating iniiwasan sa morality is what we call relativism. Relativism simply means, moral relativism simply means, in terms of values, in terms of ethics, in terms of defining what is right and wrong, it will only depend on my own interpretation. And that is very dangerous. So, ang tama at mali, magiging tama at mali lang, depende sa interpretation ko, on my own personal interpretation. So sometimes what is good and what is right, something that's very comfortable to me. Hindi na siya yung standard, hindi na siya yung norm. Kaya sabi dito sa slides na to, moral relativism keeps me in business because we have our own interpretation about morals, about right and wrong. It becomes comfort. Okay ba tayo so far? I want to have a reflection on the following about the scout oath. We're all familiar with this one. On my honor, sa ngalan ng aking dangal. I don't know if you notice it, no? When we start with the scout oath, we start with honor. I like it better in Filipino, which is dangal. We start with an honor, dangal, and when we end it with morally straight, marangalang asal. Ang ganda niyang interpretation in Tagalog, marangalang asal, because it speaks from doon sa una about dangal, marangal ang asal. I love our scout oath because it starts about being honorable. In Tagalog, sinabi pa, sa ngalan ng aking dangal. In the name, kung Englishin ko yon, in the name of my honor. Mas mabigat siya, di ba? Compare on my honor, but if I English, sa ngalan ng aking dangal, in the name of my honor. It starts and ends about morals. It starts and ends about being honorable. It starts and ends with our dangal. What a very good scout oath. Another reflection on our scout law. It starts again with trustworthy. It's all about honor. It's all about dangal. How can you be trusted if you don't have any honor? And it ends again of being about marangal, reverend, maka-Diyos. Minsan sabi ko, siguro tawagan natin ng scout ng reverend scout. Parang reverend pastor. Baka sakaling it will be a good reminder for everybody if we address somebody a salutation about being reverend. So we start with being honorable, dangal, and when we end it. Kasi kung wala itong dalawa, ewan ko kung intentional to. If it was intentional, then that's good. If it's not, it's still very good. Kasi how can you be loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, and so forth if your honor is not there? Diba? So it starts with it. So let's look back and reflect about our scout oath and law in terms of how do we really apply it. Sabi ko nga with some scouts, kahit tandaan nyo lang yung una, on my honor. Tapos yung huli, maka-Diyos. Tandaan lang natin trustworthy, reverend. No? So we just remember the first and the last, and we won't go wrong. The next part that I'll be showing you is a video about integrity. It's a very good video. No, it supports about the meaning of being morally straight. But before I play the video, when we say about integrity, you go do things even people don't see. Hindi ka mandadaya kahit alam mong hindi ka mahuhuli. Hindi ka magnanakaw kahit alam mong hindi ka mahuhuli. This video, I normally use it for leadership trainings, no? But I think it's also very appropriate to show this video to everybody.
Integrity lies at the core of leadership. Integrity is about good judgment, where one must recognize the gray areas and make honest decisions where there are no clear choices. Your own integrity is a starting point, for it is what makes people trust you. Integrity requires critical self-awareness, coupled with wide peripheral vision of the bigger picture. There will always be rules and codes of conduct to live by. However, they are not the foundation of integrity, which begins with one simple principle: how you act. The shadow of your integrity plays out across those that you influence, so use it wisely. What you give is what you get, for the ripple effect of integrity goes both ways. Defining moments that set bad examples stimulate poor conduct, and positive examples stimulate good conduct. People with integrity are good listeners and have the ability to look at ethical decisions from the other side of the fence, making choices rooted in core human values with a respect for local customs. People with integrity go beyond knowing the right thing to do. They actually do it, even when this goes against the flow of popular opinion or turns away business. Whether you realize it or not, we are all ambassadors of integrity.
Okay ba yung video? Sabi niya doon sa later part, no? You'll still act with integrity even though it's against popular opinion. Because being honorable, morally straight, it is not about the majority. It is about acceptable norms about people, standards that we have. At hindi to pwedeng ma-define only on our own personal note. Okay? Oops, na ulit. Okay. Ano bang challenges of being morally straight? Our challenge as a scout and scout leaders, I'll call it a calling, is to be holy. Tama? Parang santo, no? Reverend eh. To be holy. So if I look at it, paano ba maging holy? Kung ang priest and pastor at isang ordinaryong tao, we need God. Alam naman natin yon. Sa isang pare, pastor, faith. Sa isang laiko, faith din. And then we have the word. Sa mga Christians, we call this one Bible. Sa mga Muslims, Quran. And then for the laity, we listen. And then ang action natin for this one to be a witness, to be a witness. So, pasensya na kayo, ginawa ko siyang math. Because as a student of science, we go through certain formulas. But as a scout, ano ba? Sa scout, it's our duty. And we learn. We learn by doing things. We learn the scout thought and laws by doing it. Dahil daming skills na natin. Yung pinaka-Bible natin, yung Scout Oath and Law. Action, always be prepared kung saan ka kailangan. Kung saan, nasaan ang action. Kung saan kailangan. Pag nag-equate ako dito, a scout should also be holy. So if I treat this one as my thesis, ang sinasabi ko dito, naka-uniforme ka man, naka-neckerchief ka man ng being scout, it should be part of your personality. Hindi lang pag naka-uniforme tayo with our people na nagiging totoong scout tayo. I want to show another video. I have another interventions using another video. It's coming from the movie Legend of Bagger Vance. Ewan ko kung napanood nyo na to. Isang part ng movie na I hope the audio will be good and kasi I just streamed part of the movie. And I'll repeat it twice para mapakinggan nyo yung audio niya. Mabuti.
Don't hold nothing back.
The ball moved.
No.
It moved. I have to call a stroke on myself.
No! No! Don't do it. Please don't do it. Only you and me seen it, and I won't tell a soul. Cross my heart. Ain't nobody gonna know.
I will, Hardy. And so will you.
You got to tell him not to do it, Bagger. It's just a stupid rule that don't mean nothing.
That's a choice for Mr. Junior, Hardy.
No one wanted the penalty assessed, not even Jones and Hagan. This was no way to win a match.
Maybe you're mistaken, Junior. Maybe it moved before you touched your impediment.
Might not have moved at all. The light plays funny tricks this time of day.
A ball is deemed to have moved if it leaves its original position in the least degree, but not if it merely oscillates and comes to rest in its original position. Is she different? Can you be certain? Sometimes a ball will shudder and then settle back again, June.
The ball was here, and it rolled to here.
Hit it quick, old boy, before you have time to think about it.
Okay, before I repeat this video, sa sports ng golf, the shorter yung palo nyo, the number of strokes, the lesser the number of strokes, the more advantageous you are. So dito, this is a story in Atlanta, Georgia, in Savannah, Georgia, that this was during the Great Depression. So part ng fundraising nila to have a competition of golf. So si Matt Damon, ng actor, nag-struggle siya on these sports. He used to be a good champion, but when he went to war in the World War I, na-brand siya as traitor. And then here in this sports na to, no, siya yung magiging savior sana. And malilinis niya yung pangalan niya kung manalo siya dito sa exhibition game, sa golf. But you see, no, I want you to go back again and listen to the words. And where morally straight was being exercised in this game. If you notice, ang argument nila nung bata is no one saw it. Hindi nila nakita. Tayo lang dalawa. In short, pwede mo sabihin na walang nangyaring pangit, but on my own, sabi niya, no, but I knew it by heart. Something went wrong. So I need to penalize myself. So let's go back again to the video and you see how morally straight. And then yung ka-competitor niya, look at the look on his eyes, no, with Matt Damon.
Don't hold nothing back.
The ball moved.
No.
It moved. I have to call a stroke on myself.
No! No! Don't do it. Please don't do it. Only you and me seen it, and I won't tell a soul. Cross my heart. Ain't nobody gonna know.
I will, Audie. And so will you.
You got to tell him not to do it, Bagger. It's just a stupid rule that don't mean nothing.
That's a choice for Mr. Junahadi.
No one wanted the penalty assessed, not even Jones and Hagen. This was no way to win a match.
Maybe you're mistaken, Juna. Maybe it moved before you touched the impediment.
Might not have moved at all. The light plays funny tricks this time of day.
A ball is deemed to have moved if it leaves its original position in the least degree, but not if it merely oscillates and comes to rest in its original position. Is she different? Can you be certain? Sometimes a ball will shudder and then settle back again, June.
The ball was here, and it rolled to here.
Hit it quick, old boy, before you have time to think about it.
Look at that face. It's a face of an admiration. It's a face of, you can keep it a secret. You may win the game. At this point of the match, they're even. But because of that penalty, magiging one-stroke back shot. So what happened to this game? Natalo siya because of that one. But, you know, this is the challenge we always face in. Minsan, pag may nagawa tayo mali, titingin tayo sa paligid natin. May nakakita ba? May naka-observe ba? May nakaalam ba? Kung makakalusot, magpapalusot. Di ba? So we try our way out. Nawawala yung accountability. Now, let's go to the main part of the webinar. How can I be morally straight? Very simple. We live by our Scout Oath and law. But of course, alam naman natin yun, di ba? We were not here just for this one to know about Scout Oath and law. Scout Oath and law is our binding disciplinary force. So besides the Scout Oath and law, I'll be giving you some tips. So to be morally straight, I will be humble, humility. What does it have to do being humble? You know, as a scout, no, especially for Eagle Scouts, kuminsan, when we're so pag elders na tayo, we thought ourselves as a big person. I'm better than everybody else. I'm a senior scout. I'm senior than my later part. I'm a scout master. I'm better than the younger people. But we fail to realize to be humble. We can learn from younger people. During this pandemic, when a lot of scouts need help, they need help. I was talking to a medical doctor, psychologist, sabi niya, James, you know what? We had a lot of suicidal cases nowadays because of depression. Because of depression. And sometimes being a scout, we forget our duty to God. We forgot there's a God above us. May mga scout, Eagle Scouts din akong kilala, they lost their job during this pandemic. How can I be able to approach them, help them? Hindi ko na ma-offer ng trabaho to eh. But you know, being humble doesn't mean na you cannot be so assertive. Being humble also means you spend time listening to others. As a scout, it's very important we listen to one another. Doon sa webinar last time, I watched it last night, no? Doon sa YouTube. Isang sinabi doon is, share stories. And I think that is also part of time to listen. Emphatic listening. People wants to share their difficulties. They share yung mga losses nila nowadays. One time, no, I had a phone call from a friend who said that yung kapatid niya, yung ate niya, nag-suicide. So I asked why. Kasi daw nawalan ng trabaho. So the first instinct that I'll do is, of course, to talk to the sister, no, to talk to him. And then, you know, when they share their stories, you'll be humbled to know that life is so precious that during this pandemic, a scout should always be there to be part of their suffering. Another tip that I can give you in being humble is seek feedback from others on a regular basis. Yung minsan kasi, it's related to the third one, or the language of pride. Hindi natin alam, nakakaapak na tayo ng tao. No? Even in our Facebook post that we post. Alam natin daming nagugutom, but we keep on sharing good food sa Facebook or social media. You know, yes, you're happy, but sometimes you need to listen to others to get their feedback. Tama ba yung mga pinopost ko sa Facebook? No, simple food. Ang yabang-yabang ko, dami kong kinakain. I go different places kahit alam mong hindi pwede mag-travel. No? So this time of pandemic, it calls us to be humble. Our pride. Second one is to be exemplary or being an example. Be mindful of your actions. Lead by example, walk the talk. Sometimes, no, ang ayaw ko sa training sa scouting is parang it's like a military type. Turn left, turn right, straight line. Two mechanics. I have nothing against the military, by the way, no? But sometimes we fail to lead by example. Example na lang, ganito. One of the things I hate during campings, when scoutmasters umiinom ng alak, are we leading by examples? Or mga Eagle Scouts, adults na, magdadrive even though they're in the influence of alcohol? Isang challenge then is about smoking. And during this pandemic, one challenge is, am I wearing my mask properly in public? Am I exercising yung health protocols na required by government to avoid the spread of the virus? It's our example. It's the shadow that we cast to our younger generations. Hindi makukuha to in terms of being a leader pasigaw-sigaw. You impose your authority. I'll give you an example sa workplace namin. So in the past week, I was talking with some production people. Sabi ko kasi before the pandemic, during the pandemic, one of the least thing that I will do is to let go of people, meaning mag-retrench of people. My task as a leader, sabi ko, despite of the pandemic, despite of the decrease in sales, I want to keep your job. I want to keep your job. I don't want people to lose their job. So I was talking with the production people. And then the supervisors were complaining about some of their staff, some of their operators. Kasi may mga operators na sigang-siga. They don't follow their leaders. Then I asked the supervisors, sabi ko, why do you think they don't follow you? Why do you think they don't listen to you? Sir, hindi ko alam eh. Hindi ko alam eh. Ganun. So after I talk with the supervisors, I talk to their people. Sabi ko, what's our problem? Kasi ang supervisor mo, kung pwede ka lang tanggalin sa trabaho, tatanggalin ka niya. But I want to understand why. Eh sir, kasi sabi niya, bawal gawin to, bawal gawin to. Pero boss, ang supervisor namin, ginagawa niya yung bawal eh. Pumapasok siya sa production area, dala niya yung cellphone, eh bawal ang cellphone sa production area, di ba? Sir, sabi, mag-mask. Eh sir, siya hindi nagmamask eh. Sumisigaw pa nga eh. Mas tumatalsik ang laway niya eh. Sabi niya. So sabi ko, I'm so alarmed. Sabi ko, ano baka maapektuhan yung produkto namin? And then, it's mainly during the meeting. So it's very important that as a scout and scout leader, being an example, we walk the talk. Mahirap. Mahirap. No? Kung minsan, when I combine being an example and being a humble, ang gusto ng mga scout leaders, they be treated like a boss. Parang Diyos. But as a scout, being an exemplary, humble leader, we need to go down to the level in such a way they don't see us as they don't see only our authority. They see us a real leader that they can be that they can model with. Kailangan na pag naging leader ako, gusto ko parang siya. Dahil naiintindihan ako. And then I see how he acts. And then pag nalaman pang leader, ang leader is hindi lang during scout siya leader din siya sa pamilya niya. Leader din siya sa pagiging kaibigan. Another one is A, which is being accountable. Accountability simply means it's I, not you. Pag nagkamali. You're working as a team, being a scout. Pag naman success, it's us, not I. No, meron kaming dating executive noon when I was still as a junior manager, when I was still ang tawag namin sa kanya, Mr. I. I did this, I did that, I did this, and I do that. Siya lang. Nakalimutan niya yung the rest of the team na kasama niya sa paggawa. No, in every success, kahit sabihin mo ng major contributor ka, you always remember, it's us. We did it. Natay did it. Kapag nagkamali, and you know it's really you, ako yun. Huwag na natin idamay yung iba. And willingness to say, I'm sorry. Are respectful. Be polite. We don't label people. We judge action, not the person. Don't make excuses. Nowadays, no, even on social media, we tend to label people. Sinungaling yan. Salbahe yan. Up to the point of kung hindi tayo magkapareho ng paniniwala, we label them as negatively. Now, when I was in Singapore, when I was working there, scouting helped me a lot. Because in Singapore, you're open to multi-cultures, multi-religions. Hindi lang Kristiyano. May Muslim, may Hindu, may Buddhist. And you see the dignity of man in every faith, in every religion. Ang mahirap kasi, kung minsan, kung di ko kapareho ng pananiniwala or pananampalataya, we tend to label them. Masama sila. Hindi tayo magkapareho. And even on political affiliations, we try to label people. Basta kontra, ganito ang kulay niya. Pag sa ngayon, ganito ang kulay niya. But we don't see the actions. We see the person. What is important is we are mindful that we're tinuturing natin yung action. Ngayon, sa social media, hindi kami parehong paniniwala, ililabel ko na siya. That's wrong, basically. But if pinanano mo yung action, that's okay, but not the person. Lastly, be thankful. Just be simple. See people things as a blessing, learn to be satisfied. In a workplace, in scouting, sometimes when we want to thank people, we try to put certain reward. Appreciation and reward are two different things. When you appreciate, just a tap on the back may do. But when we appreciate, when we reward people, sometimes ang danger doon, hindi sila gagawa ng tama hanggat walang monetary award or something tangible. So being thankful is simply simplicity. We don't need we need to recognize that every efforts that each scout did, we appreciate. Sometimes we forget that one. Even sa trabaho, di ba? May ginawang ganito, sasabihin, trabaho naman niya yan eh. Or even in government, pag ginawang trabaho ng gobyerno, hindi man kailangan pasalamatan yan, trabaho nila yan. No? So we need to be thankful, full of gratitude with our neighbors, with our things. let's be satisfied to what we have. If we learn to be satisfied to what we have, we will see everything as a blessing. Minsan, nung that was 2 or 3 weeks ago, no, we had a situation in the company that we gave them already yung second part nung 13-month pay. So nung April, we gave 3 months of the 13-month pay. And then nung last July, we gave another advanced 13-month pay for another 3 months. So pagkatanggap nung 13-month pay, 5 of our employees, pagkakuha, pumunta sa sugal. 5 sila. Yung 2, sila yung promotor. And then, yung 3, niyayala. And then, what happened is that na-raid sila ng police during the sabong. During the derby, na-raid sila. So, nahuli yung 3 niyaya sa mga empleyado namin. So what happened, they filed a leave. Yung isa, sick leave. Yung isa, emergency leave. Namatay daw yung tito niya. He was in the wake daw. Well, totoo naman namatay. It just happened, wala siya sa wake kasi nakulong siya. Yung nag-sick leave, dinala. Paano ka naging sick sa loob ng kulungan? Yung third naman, nag-alaga daw siya ng bata. Kasi yung misis niya magtatrabaho. So lahat ng final nilang leave ay mali. No? Paano ka nag-alaga ng bata sa loob ng kulungan? So sabi ko, this is dishonesty. This is falsification. And then based on sabi ng HR namin, sir, sabi niya sa akin, the penalty dito is they should be fired, no? Tanggal sila sa trabaho. So that was a very difficult decision on my part. Then I told my HR, and then I talked with the rest of the management team. Sabi ko, as much as we want to implement our disciplinary action, these 3 people who were being caught will be a blessing for us for more than 5 years kasi minimum 5 years yung tenure nila sa company. What is difficult is that they were not so satisfied with what they have. Gusto pa nilang palaguin sa isang sugal. So sabi ko, are we going to fire them because of this one? Or should we be more compassionate because of the pandemic? So, sabi ko sa management team ko, I told them, think about that one and let's decide tomorrow if we will fire these 3 people. And then the next day, so we thought about it the next day. Because we're so thankful we have still the business, hindi tayo nagsara. But if we won't be firing these 3 people, they might be a precedent of implementing other rules of conduct in our company. So, before we even decided, I talked again with these 3 people. Sabi nila, sir, we're ready to receive the consequence of being fired. Ang sabi nila sa akin, sir, hindi na kami nagkontento sa simpleng buhay namin. Ngayon nakita na mawawalan kami ng trabaho, doon namin na-realize na blessed pala kami na may trabaho. Kasi makasama namin sa kulungan, walang trabaho. Tambay lang sila. Yung iba nawalan ng trabaho. Kami, dahil sa pagsisinungaling namin, may chance na mawalan kami ng trabaho. So they said, any consequence that we have, that you'll give us, sabi nila, we'll accept it. And then, pero sabi nila, sir, thank you pa rin. Tanggalin niyo man po kami sa trabaho, I will still be thankful. Kasi na-realize namin kung anong meron namin compare sa iba na wala sila. So as scout, no, I'll end that story there, but basically, what I'm trying to tell you as a tips, no, for this one, let's be humble. Humble scout, humble leader. Be an example. Accountability should be there. Respect should be there. Being ingratitude should be there. We should be always be praying for a heart that is truly a scout, and let's have that fire in our heart. Simple tips, alam natin, alam nyo na to eh. But bottom line dito, no, in handling this dilemma of these challenges, let's always be reminded that I'm a scout. I live by the scout totem law. I have a praying heart. I have that fire, yung init sa puso natin na magsilbi at maging halimbawa sa bawat scout na meron tayo. So with that note, if you have any questions, I'll accept them now. May nagsulat sa screen. May tanong? I have 2 more slides, but after the last 2 slides, let's have the questions if meron. Sir AA, meron bang tanong?
Sir, ito po, nag-post na po ako sa chat box. If they have questions, they can send it so that we can read it aloud.
Okay.
Are there any questions po from our participants? Any questions po? Okay. Siguro sir, ako muna ang magtatanong. How can we be able to help scouts understand the challenges to be morally straight, especially ngayon na nasa bahay sila? How can we be able to share the information we learn from here?
So with the new, with what we call as new normal, we're all through online right now. Even schools are going online. No? I deleted one slide dito. Linagay ko dyan yung dati na yung mga skit natin ginagawa during scouting, campfire. Di ba yung normal, hindi nawawala sa skit ng mga scouts. Common to. Yung tipong part ng skit yung merong magkakabarkada, may nakita, nawawalan landa, sali ka sa scouting, gaganda ang ano mo. o yung tipong hindi nag-aaral na mabuti, yung tatay, lasenggo, ganon, yung anak gustong mag-aral, di makapag-aral, pero pag naiinganyo sa scouting, may makakatulong sa kanya. I think this is the time that we can be able to let others know that scouting is alive, even though with this pandemic. One thing is, eto webinar to, masyadong mataas yung level nito. Normally we target scouts and scout masters, di ba? Maybe we come up with each council, with its troops, isang activity through online. No, pwede ba magkaroon ng online teaching ng mga skills ng Boy Scout? Pwede bang online na example ng yung communal prayer among the scouts to remind people about what we have. Let's make use of being online. For councils naman na yung cases of pandemic is not there, I encourage you to go face-to-face. Of course, with the health protocol, no? Iba pa rin yung personal touch, no? To be honest, no, when I give talk, I always go around. Hindi ako napaano sa studio. But dito with the online, ang hirap tahimik lahat. Ako lang, naririnig ko lang sarili ko. I'm tempted to ask AA kanina to unmute everybody. Baka naman kasi ibang background, ang ingay-ingay, no? Mas magandang may kausap. But sometimes, no, to answer your question, AA, no, we take advantage of what we have online. We take advantage, tell them as well, no, hindi lang lahat scouting matututunan. Ang dami ngayon, kahit anong religion yata ngayon meron ng daming preaching online. Di mo na kung minsan alam kung sinong pipiliin mong pakinggan No? So something that we go. But bottom line, we lead by example. Na even what we post online, we're so conscious about it. It does not go against morals.
Thank you, Sir James. Meron po tayong tanong mula kay Sir Lance Manga. Meron po akong tanong, sir. Kapag meron pong sasali sa scouting, pero wala po silang pera dahil nawalan ng trabaho ang magulang po nila, is there a moral obligation to help the less fortunate? Siguro itong scout, tinatanong po niya yung scout, is it a moral obligation for the scout to help the incoming scout or the prospective scout in joining scouting?
Okay. For me, joining scouting, money should not be an hindrance. Money should not be an hindrance. It just happened an organization needs money for it to function in such a way. Now, is it a moral obligation to fund it? Ganun ba ang dating ng tanong, AA? To fund it?
Yes, sir. Kumbaga, kung sakali po ay tutulungan po niya para sumali na sa scouting yung bata kasi walang pera yung magulang dahil sa pandemic.
For me, this is my personal opinion, no? First of all, if you want to help. But ito's lagi ko sinasabi, when we help people, huwag niyong tanggalin ng obligasyon ng magulang. Hindi pwede lahat free. No, hindi lahat free. Ngayon, yung membership na bayad, yung initial training or yung initial na bayad, how about yung mga future? Who will fund that one? The way we teach our scouts is kung pwedeng mag-save sila, that's the best way to teach them how to catch fish. Yung membership fee, you can let go of that one. Go to the essence of scouting. Teach them how to save, how to set aside some of their allowance. Teach them how to, ayoko naman sabihing work, no? Kasi they're below age pa sila, no? But ang sinasabi ko, how they can find resources. Ngayon, kung matulungan yung magulang to find some resources like yung mga home living, no, yung mga how they can earn on their own, no, being entrepreneur, that's even better. But I don't see any moral obligation na talagang bigyan mo. A moral obligation is more on if you have the means to help, help by all means. Pero alam mo, in my experience dito sa pandemic, hindi maraming tumutulong na wala ring pera. They don't have money at all. Tumisan pamasahin na nila, bibigay pa nila sa mas nangangailangan.
Thank you, Sir James. Ayun po, thank you rin po kay Sir Manga. Are there any questions pa po? Okay. So same sir, wala na pong additional questions and you may proceed to the next two slides that you have prepared, sir.
Kanina, we have give me oil in my lamp, keep it burning. Let's change the lyrics in fire in my heart. Give me fire in my heart, keep it burning. Give me fire in my heart, I pray. Okay, so palitan lang natin, give me oil in my lamp. So hindi ko rin pinalitan yung sa video, but let's be conscious, fire in my heart. Give me fire in my heart, keep it burning. Give me fire in my heart, I pray. Give me fire in my heart, keep it burning. Keep it burning till daybreak. Sing, Hosanna, sing, Hosanna. Sing, Hosanna to the King of Kings. Sing, Hosanna, sing, Hosanna, sing, Hosanna to the King. Fire in my heart, keep it burning. Give me fire in my heart, I pray. Give me fire in my heart, keep it burning till the end of days. Okay. The last one is a closing prayer first. No, we started with the prayer, we close with a prayer. Let us all put ourselves in the presence of the Lord. Heavenly Father, glory and praise to you. We thank you for the gift of life and blessings you have given us. Speak to us, O Lord, your servant scouts are listening. Create in us a clean heart, O Lord, that we may be able to serve you and others with sincerity. Open our minds, O Lord, to seek your wisdom and the truth. Uplift our spirit, O Lord, in this time of COVID-19 pandemic and socio-political unrest. Teach us to be patient and faithful, O Lord, that we may be able to live the Scout Open law. Inspire us always, O Lord, that we may always see you in others. Nurture our body, O Lord, that we may remain healthy to do your will. Grant us your forgiveness, O Lord, for the sins and shortcomings that we have committed. Lord, teach us to be humble, to teach us to be an exemplary to other scouts. Teach us to be accountable. Teach us to be respectful of others. Lord, teach us to be very thankful for all the blessings that we have. This we ask in your mighty name. Amen. Thank you. Good evening.
Maraming salamat, Sir James. Thank you for the insights and also for sharing the experience right now in this pandemic. I'm still waiting for a question from Sir Lance Managpis. Nakalimutan ko itanong, sir. I'm asking him to send it again so that I can ask the question for you, to you. However, while we are waiting, we'll go ahead and proceed to the presentation of the certificate, sir. Sir, I'll just request to get the screen from you, sir.
Okay.
Okay, so for tonight, Agila Pilipinas would like to give you the certificate of recognition. Also, we would like to thank you for accepting our request in a short notice. Um, this is for Scouter James N. Pasamonte, SCA, Eagle Scout, Master of Management, registered physician, pharmacist, for being a resource speaker for the webinar, The Challenge of Being Morally Straight During This Pandemic, an insight on how to face the dilemma continuously encountered by Scout leaders and Eagle Scouts in handling young Scouts. This is given this 29th of August 2020, signed by the Agila Pilipinas moderator. Maraming salamat ulit, Sir James. At papadala muna po namin ito pansamantala gamit ang PDF sa ngayon po.
Okay.
Ngayon naman po, pumunta tayo sa mga participants. Ganito po ang nangyayari for our Certificate of Participation. Zoom has its own list of the participants per webinar. So Zoom will be sending us the list of the participants. And then from that list, we will see the time or the duration that they were online or logged in. And then from there, we will create the certificate of participation. So rest assured po, kung nandito po kayo sa webinar na ito, pagka-send po sa amin ni Zoom, ay meron po kayong certificate na darating po or matatanggap. Kaya lang po, para sa tulong nyo na rin po sa Agila Pilipinas at sa mga susunod na webinars, sa chat box nyo po ngayon, may makikita po kayong evaluation form. Ito po ay para lang ma-evaluate nyo po ang ating webinar ngayong gabi. Ito po ay ang ating pang-anim na webinar sa ngayon. So makikita nyo po sa chat box at maaari pong pakisagutan na lang mamaya. Ayun po. Certificate of participation given to the participants here in Zoom. While for those who will be watching the webinar on YouTube, they will get a certificate of appreciation. Certificate of attendance for watching the webinar on Zoom, on YouTube. So yun po. Maraming salamat po. And then for the upcoming webinar on the 5th of September, our webinar is entitled Trail to Adult Scouting and Helping Develop Outstanding Boy Scouts. We have requested the honor of Sir Leonhard Eric Jalandoni to help us and inspire us and also to motivate us regarding how to follow the trail in adult scouting for fellow Eagle Scouts and senior scouts who are graduated in the high school program. Ano ba ang meron sa trail ng BTC, ATC, parang tips lang. And then the main topic is how to help develop the outstanding Boy Scouts. So, ayan po. Ang next webinar ay sa September 5, sa susunod na Sabado. Kayo pong nandito sa Zoom ay makakatanggap po ng paunang registration form kung sakaling gusto nyo pong mag-register. Ayun po. And then ulitin lang po namin, we would like to thank our fellow Eagle Scout, Rover Scout, Scouters, and Senior Scout leaders, and also our local council officers and staff for attending this webinar from Angeles City down to Zamboanga del Sur, Pagadian. And also from the participants in India, and also from Bharat Scouts and Guides. Sir, thank you for attending the webinar. And lastly, we would like to again send our gratitude to our anonymous sponsors and contributors here in Agila Pilipinas. Lastly, for Agila Pilipinas, we have opening for September. So you can use our Zoom account for your Scout webinars if you want, for your trainings or board of review. We can schedule the use of the Zoom account for you or for your council. Just message us at our Facebook account. Before po ng class picture o ng Zoom picture, ang panghuli po natin ay ang Old Lang Syne. So kung maaari po ay, i-prepare ko lang yung audio. Ayan. So ayan, a reminder for all incoming and current Eagle Scouts, skills can help us earn the Eagle Scout rank. rank. However, our traits will help us become truly Eagle Scout by helping the council and the community. So, ito po ang old lang sign. Maraming salamat po ulit. I-request ko po sanang lahat na buksan ang kanilang Zoom. Ang tawag dito, Zoom webcam para sa class picture po. Kaya lang po sa ngayon, ulit po, magsasmile po tayo na mag-isa. Pero sa class picture po, marami tayong nakasmile. So kindly hold your smile for 10 seconds lang. Baka makita po kayo ng mga kasama niyo sa bahay. So, I just screenshot. We have 3 screens. So, in 3, 2, 1, smile for 10 seconds. First screen. I'm going now to the second screen. Just smile. Okay. Second screen. Okay. I'm now on the third screen. Last screen. Okay. Ayan po. Sige po, maaari na po kayong hindi mag-smile ulit. So yun po, maraming salamat po ulit sa lahat ng nag-attend ng ating webinar. And we hope that you're safe and healthy. And see you on our next webinar po. Maraming salamat po. Sir Rex San Diego, maraming salamat po sa pag-attend sa webinar, sir. Sir James, nandito rin po si Sir Alex Salak. Maraming salamat daw po and hello po. Okay. Mula kay Sir Daniel, maraming salamat din daw po. From Sir Robert Castañeda, maraming salamat din daw po. Okay. So, time off na po pala si Sir James. To all our participants, magandang gabi po. Good night po. We will be ending the Zoom meeting now in 1 minute po. Ma'am Arya Banal, salamat po. Ma'am Ponce, maraming salamat din po. Maraming salamat po.